The fluorescent lights buzzed like angry hornets as Dr. Ethan Hale's scalpel slipped, nicking the artery he'd sworn to save. Blood sprayed across the sterile tiles, and in that frozen heartbeat, Nurse Jamal Washington's steady hands clamped the wound before the monitors could flatline. But Ethan's voice shattered the chaos first. "You call that assisting? Get out. Before you kill us all." Jamal's dark eyes flickered with something deeper than hurt. A quiet storm, as the patient on the table gasped his last, unaware that the real betrayal had just begun. In the dim corridor outside R3, Ethan ripped off his gloves, his chest heaving not from the code but from the lie he'd spat. Jamal lingered by the door, his broad shoulders slumped under the weight of scrubs stained crimson, wiping his hands on a towel that could never erase the sting. "You know damn well that was my save, Ethan," Jamal murmured, voice low like jazz notes in a Harlem basement. "But go ahead, blame the black guy. It's easier than facing what you're running from." Ethan's jaw clenched, the hospital's endless hum swallowing his retort. He turned away, but not before catching the glint of tears in Jamal's eyes, tears that mirrored his own buried shame. Little did he know, the man wheezing in room 407, the patient they just fought for, held the key to unraveling it all. A truth that would strip Ethan bare, forcing him to confront the love he denied for a decade. The rain-slicked streets of Brooklyn blurred past Ethan's windshield as he drove home that night, the wipers slashing like accusations. It was 2 a.m., the kind of hour when New York felt less like a city and more like a confession booth, all neon sins and shadowed regrets. Ethan gripped the wheel tighter, replaying the or fiasco in his head. Jamal had been flawless, anticipating the bleed, calling for the clamp before Ethan even registered the complication. Yet there he was, the golden boy of Mount Sinai Ziar, reduced to snarling like some insecure intern. Why? Because Jamal's touch lingered too long on his arm during handover, a brush of fingers that sent electricity crackling up Ethan's spine. Because in those stolen seconds, Ethan saw not a subordinate, but a man who could unravel his carefully constructed straight-laced facade. He pulled into his brownstone's driveway, the engine's rumble fading into silence. The house was dark, save for the porch light his roommate, his best friend, Ryan had left on. Ryan, with his easy laugh and zero complications, the perfect buffer against the world. Ethan slammed the door, kicking off his shoes in the foyer. "Rough night," Ryan called from the kitchen, nursing a beer at the island counter. His blonde hair was tousled from whatever late-night coding binge he'd been on, eyes crinkling with that brotherly concern Ethan both craved and resented. "You could say that." Ethan grabbed a water from the fridge, chugging it to drown the bile of guilt. Ryan knew the basics. Ethan's climb up the surgical ladder, the pressure from his old money family in Connecticut to marry some debutante and pop out heirs. What Ryan didn't know was the ache Ethan buried deeper than any incision. The pull toward men, toward Jamal specifically, ever since the nurse transferred from Johns Hopkins 6 months ago. Jamal, with his quick wit and unapologetic pride, rainbow lanyard dangling from his badge, quoting Baldwin during lunch breaks. He cracked Ethan's armor without even trying, sharing stories of growing up in Bed-Stuy, dodging cops and dreaming of healing hands instead of fists. "Spill," Ryan prodded, sliding a stool over. "It's that nurse again, isn't it? The one who looks like he could bench press you and quote poetry while doing it." Ethan shot him a glare, but there was no heat in it. Ryan had clocked the tension weeks ago, during a staff barbecue where Jamal's laugh had cut through the grill smoke like sunlight. "He's competent, that's all." Jamal was brilliant, top of his class at NYU nursing, volunteered at free clinics in the Bronx. But to Ethan, he was a mirror, reflecting the parts of himself he'd locked away since med school. The fumbling kisses in dorm shadows, the fear of his father's disappointed stare. Ryan chuckled, clapping Ethan's shoulder. "Competent, right? Just don't let the brass catch you eye-fucking the help. HR's got a zero-tolerance vibe these days." He winked, but Ethan felt the jab land. Zero tolerance for everything except the quiet erosions, the microaggressions that chipped away at souls like Jamal's. Sleep evaded him that night, tangled in sheets that smelled faintly of hospital antiseptic. Dreams bled into memories. The first time he'd met Jamal. Not in scrubs but at a pride rally in Washington Square Park. Years before Ethan had traded rainbows for white coats. Ethan had been there undercover, a straight-passing ally dragged by a college fling. Jamal had been on stage, voice booming through the mic about intersectionality. Black, queer, unbreakable. Their eyes had met across the crowd, a spark that Ethan had snuffed out by fleeing before the cheers died. Now, fate or karma had dragged him back, forcing proximity in the one place where mistakes cost lives. Dawn broke gray and unforgiving, the alarm blaring like a code blue. Ethan dragged himself to the hospital, coffee in hand, stealing for the shift. Mount Sinai's ER was a beast at 7 a.m. Ambulances howling, families pacing like caged wolves. He nodded to the charge nurse, avoiding the nurse's station where Jamal held court. His deep laugh a balm to the weary. But today, Jamal's smile didn't reach his eyes. He was all business, charting vitals with mechanical precision. "Dr. Hale," Jamal said evenly as Ethan approached for handover. No Ethan, no warmth, just the professional chill that cut deeper than any scalpel. Room 407 stable post-op. "Mr. Ellis, your patient from last night wants to see you. Says it's urgent." Ethan frowned, glancing at the board. Harold Ellis, 68, African-American, end-stage renal failure complicated by a septic episode. Admitted yesterday after collapsing at his Harlem brownstone. What, he needs a refill already? Jamal's lips thinned. He needs a doctor who listens, not one who performs. The words hung, laced with the echo of last night's venom. Before Ethan could retort, a page crackled overhead. Incoming trauma, multi-car pileup on the FDR. The morning dissolved into frenzy. Gurneys rattling, screams punctuating the beeps. Ethan lost himself in the rhythm, suturing lacerations, intubating the unresponsive. Jamal was everywhere, a shadow at his elbow, handing instruments without a word, his presence both anchor and irritant. During a brief lull, Ethan caught him in the break room, staring out at the East River, steam rising from a forgotten mug. "Jamal," Ethan started, voice rough. "About last night. Save it." Jamal turned, arms crossed, the fluorescent light carving hollows under his high cheekbones. "I've heard every excuse, Ethan. The pressure, the politics. But when you yelled like that, in front of him," he jerked his head toward the ward. "You didn't just humiliate me. You made it okay for every resident watching to think it's fine to treat us like we're disposable." Ethan's throat tightened. "I didn't mean, but he did." The outburst had been a shield, deflecting the heat pooling in his gut whenever Jamal leaned close, breath warm against his neck. "You're the best damn nurse here. I know that." Jamal's laugh was bitter, a sound like cracking ice. "Best? Or just convenient? The one who doesn't complain when you take credit for my catches." He stepped closer, close enough for Ethan to smell the faint citrus of his cologne. Citrus and something earthier, like rain on concrete. "Tell me, doctor, if I weren't black, if I weren't me, would you still flinch every time our hands touch?" The question landed like a gut punch. Ethan's pulse thundered, memories flooding. That rally, the way Jamal's voice had stirred something primal, forbidden. He'd run then, just as he wanted to now. Instead, he whispered, "You don't know what you're asking." Jamal's eyes softened, just a fraction. "I know what I'm seeing, and it's breaking you as much as me." Then the page sounded again, yanking them back to the fray. By afternoon, the ER had quieted to a tense simmer. Ethan finally made it to room 407, chart in hand. Harold Ellis lay propped against pillows, his frame frail but eyes sharp as obsidian. Oxygen hissed through nasal prongs, monitors beeping a steady requiem. "Dr. Hale," he rasped, voice gravelly from years of preaching in Baptist choirs. "Sit. We got business." Ethan pulled up a chair, forcing a smile. "Mr. Ellis, your labs look good. We'll get you on dialysis." "Stop." Harold's hand, veined and trembling, gripped Ethan's wrist. Ain't about kidneys. It's about that nurse. Jamal. The one you chewed out like he stole your lunch money. Ethan stiffened, heat creeping up his neck. Sir, that's hospital business. Bullshit. Harold's chuckle dissolved into a cough, but his gaze held firm. I saw it from the gurney. Boy's hands, steady as the Lord's, saved my worthless hide when you fumbled that bleeder. And you? Treated him like trash in front of God and everybody. The words stung, echoing Jamal's own. Ethan shifted, glancing at the door. It was a high-stress moment. I overreacted. Harold's eyes narrowed, appraising. High stress or high fear? I know your type, son. White coat, big ego running from shadows. But Jamal? He's light, pure. And you dim in it? That's sin. Ethan's defenses cracked. You don't know me. Don't I? Harold leaned forward, voice dropping to a conspirator's hush. 20 years ago, I was head deacon at Zion Baptist in Harlem. Raised that boy Jamal after his mama passed. Taught him to fight fair, love fierce. And you, I know you too. Ethan Hale, the prodigy from the suburbs, slumming it at that Pride March in 15. Yeah, I saw you in the crowd, looking lost as a lamb. Ethan's world tilted. The room spun, monitors blurring. What? Harold smiled faintly, weary. Jamal spotted you first. Came home buzzin' about this white boy with sad eyes. Quotin' Whitman like it was scripture. Said you looked like you needed Savon. He wrote you a letter after, poured his heart out. But you ghosted. Too scared to claim what called to you. Ethan's breath hitched. The letter. He'd found it crumpled in his locker months later, after Jamal had transferred out of state for nursing school. Words like poetry. In the hush of your gaze, I see home. He'd burned it, ashes scattering like his resolve. How? 'Cause I'm the one who mailed it. Harold's grip tightened. And now, you're here, breaking him again. But listen close, boy. That truth you ain't fasten? Is this, Jamal ain't just a nurse. He's the reason you're standin'. Back in med school, your daddy, big shot lawyer, tried to fix you. Sent you to those camps. Jamal found out, drove all night from Philly to pull you out. Fought your old man toe-to-toe, quoted the law till he backed down. Saved your career, your soul. And you repaid him by pretendin' he don't exist. The revelation crashed over Ethan like a tidal wave. Drowning denial. Jamal, his Jamal, had been the ghost in the machine, the unseen hand steering him from the abyss. Tears pricked Ethan's eyes, hot and unbidden. Why didn't he tell me? Love don't demand credit. Harold released his wrist, sinking back. But hate? It demands reckonin'. Go find him, son, before this old heart gives out and takes the story with it. Ethan stumbled from the room, corridors stretching infinite. The ER buzzed oblivious, but his vision tunneled to the supply closet where Jamal often hid during breaks. He pushed through the door, finding him there, head in hands, shoulders shaking silently. Jamal. The name escaped like a prayer. Jamal looked up, face etched with exhaustion. Not now, Ethan. I can't. I know. Ethan knelt, reckless, the linoleum cold against his knees. About the rally, the letter, the camp, everything. His voice broke. You saved me, and God, I was so afraid. Of you, of us. But not anymore. Jamal's breath caught, eyes searching Ethan's, vulnerable, raw. You think words fix this? The betrayal. The way you let them tear me down. No. Ethan reached out, tentative, fingers brushing Jamal's. But actions might. Let me try. Let me love you like you deserved all along. The air thickened, charged with possibility. Jamal's hand closed over his, warm and forgiving in its hesitation. Outside, thunder rumbled over the skyline, promising storm. But for the first time, Ethan welcomed it. The supply closet door clicked shut behind them, sealing out the world's clamor. But inside, the silence roared. Jamal's thumb traced Ethan's knuckles, a map of old wounds and new hopes. You really remember the letter? He whispered, voice cracking like thin ice. Every word. Ethan's free hand cupped Jamal's jaw, thumb brushing the stubble there. Rough, real. I was a coward. Burned it because it burned me. Showed me who I could be if I stopped hiding. Their foreheads touched, breaths mingling. The scent of antiseptic yielding to something sweeter, like possibility. Jamal pulled back slightly, eyes stormy. And now, with Dad in there coding any minute, you drop this bomb like it's catharsis hour. Ethan winced. Harold's words echoed. Love don't demand credit. Your father, he told me everything. How you fought for me. I don't deserve it. But I'm here. Begging. A ghost of a smile tugged Jamal's lips. Begging looks good on you, doctor. But the levity faded. It's not just us, Ethan. The hospital. They see me as the diversity hire, you as the star. Last night, that wasn't isolated. Remember the board meeting last month? When Dr. Vargas joked about my urban intuition saving his ass in the oar. You laughed along. Ethan's stomach twisted. He had nervous, deflecting, anything to blend into the white coat wallpaper. I was wrong. On all counts. He stood, pulling Jamal up with him, their bodies inches apart in the cramped space. Come with me. To the roof. I need air. And you. The hospital roof was a forbidden Eden. Chain-link fences rattling in the wind. The city sprawling like a lover's limbs below. Helicopters thumped distant. But up here, it was just them and the horizon, painted bruised purple by the setting sun. Jamal leaned on the ledge, wind tousling his close-cropped hair. This place is a battlefield. Every shift, I'm proving I belong. And you? You're the general, but you're fighting the wrong war. Ethan joined him, shoulders brushing. Tell me how to fight yours. He turned, facing Jamal fully, the skyline framing them like a promise. I want in. All the way. Jamal's gaze dropped to Ethan's mouth, lingering. All the way means owning it. No more side eyes in rounds. No more professional distance. His voice softened. It means nights like this, but every night. Holding you when the codes haunt your sleep. Heat bloomed in Ethan's chest, spreading like wildfire. He closed the gap, lips brushing Jamal's in a kiss tentative as dawn, soft, searching. Jamal responded with a sigh, hand fisting Ethan's scrub top, deepening it into something fierce, redemptive. When they broke, gasping, Jamal murmured against his skin, "That's the start." But peace was fleeting. As they descended, Ethan's pager screamed, "Room 407, code blue." They sprinted, bursting into chaos. Nurses swarming, defibrillator charging. Harold Ellis thrashed on the bed, monitors wailing, his frail body betraying him at last. Clear, Jamal barked, taking lead as Ethan stood frozen, the weight of the afternoon crushing him. Paddles thumped, Harold's chest arching. Again. Charge to 200. Ethan snapped to, injecting AP, his hands steady now, guided by Jamal's calm. They fought in sync, a dance honed by unspoken years. Compressions, breaths, the brutal poetry of revival. But Harold's rhythm faltered, flatline piercing the din. Time of death, 1847. The resident called, voice hollow. Jamal stepped back, mask slipping, grief raw, unfiltered. Ethan reached for him, but Jamal shrugged it off, eyes blazing. Don't. Not here. The family arrived in waves. Harold's sisters from Jersey, cousins from Atlanta. A chorus of sobs filling the hall. Jamal stood sentinel, accepting hugs, his strength a lighthouse in the storm. Ethan hovered at the periphery, invisible, the outsider crashing a sacred rite. Later, in the chapel, dim-lit, candles flickering like hesitant stars, Jamal knelt before the simple urn they'd wheeled in, whispering prayers in a cadence that twisted Ethan's heart. He was my rock, Jamal said when Ethan slipped in beside him. Raised me on stories of marches and miracles. Taught me love ain't conditional. Ethan nodded, throat tight. He told me about the camp. How you were my miracle. Jamal's hand found his in the shadows, squeezing. Dad saw you even then. Said you had a healer's heart. buried under fear. He made me promise to never stop fighting. For myself. For us. The us hung, fragile as spun glass. Ethan leaned in, kissing Jamal's temple, tasting salt. Then fight with me. We'll burn it all down if we have to. The biases, the bullshit. But dawn brought reckoning. Shift change revealed whispers. The incident had gone viral in staff Slack. Residents buzzing about Ethan's outburst. By noon, Chief of Staff Dr. Lydia Grant summoned him to her glass-walled office overlooking Madison Avenue. "Ethan," she said, perched behind her desk like a hawk, files splayed. "This complaint from Nurse Washington, it's serious. Mistreatment, racial undertones. In front of a patient, no less." Ethan's pulse hammered. Complaint? Jamal hadn't mentioned, had he? "Ma'am." It was a heat of the moment. Save the spin. Lydia's eyes, sharp behind bifocals, pinned him. "You're our rising star. But stars fall if they drag others down. HR's involved. And that patient, Harold Ellis? His family's lawyered up. Seems he recorded your little tirade on his phone. For posterity, he called it. The room spun. Recorded. Harold's final gift or grenade." Ethan imagined the clip. His voice, venom-laced, echoing Jamal's humiliation. I need to make this right." Lydia steepled her fingers. "You will. Public apology at grand rounds. Sensitivity training. And if Mr. Washington's amenable mediation." She paused, gaze softening fractionally. "You're better than this, Hale. Don't prove me wrong." Dismissed, Ethan roamed the halls like a ghost, seeking Jamal. He found him in the garden courtyard, surrounded by potted herbs and the faint chirp of city birds. A rare oasis amid concrete. Jamal sat on a bench, scrolling his phone, face drawn. "You filed," Ethan blurted, sinking beside him. Jamal's head snapped up, surprise flickering to resolve. "Had to. For Dad. For every black queer kid dreaming of these halls." He pocketed the device, turning fully. "That video?" He pressed record the second you started yelling. Whispered to me later, "Let the truth speak, son." Ethan buried his face in his hands. "I'm so sorry. The chief apology training. I'll do it all." Jamal's silence stretched. Then his arm draped over Ethan's shoulders, pulling him close. "It's not just words, Ethan. It's the system. The way they pit us against each other. You against me, to keep the power tidy. Then let's dismantle it." Ethan's voice muffled against Jamal's shirt. "Together. Start an ally group. Push for better protocols. Hell, I'll testify if it comes to that." Jamal chuckled softly, the sound vibrating through them. "Ambitious. But yeah. With you? Maybe." His fingers threaded Ethan's hair, tilting his chin up. Their kiss was slower this time, deliberate. A vow sealed in sunlight, the garden's green a witness to their fragile pact. Yet shadows loomed. That evening, as they shared takeout in Ethan's brownstone. Lo Mein steaming on the coffee table, Ryan tactfully absent, Jamal's phone lit with a text. His face paled. "Family dinner. Harlem. Tomorrow. They want to meet the man who's got me smiling again." Ethan's fork paused midair. "Me? A family thing?" Jamal grinned, mischief in his eyes. "Scared, doctor." Terrified. But the fear was laced with thrill. A step into the light Jamal had always walked. The dinner was a symphony of soul food and stories. Collards simmering with smoked turkey, cornbread golden as gospel, ants trading barbs over mac and cheese. Harold's absence hung like a melody unfinished. Photos of him beaming from the mantel. Arm around young Jamal at his nursing pinning. Fierce at a rally with signs aloft. "So, Dr. Hale?" Aunt Cecile drawled, passing the yams, her silver braids swinging. "Heard you got my nephews back now. That true, or just white guilt talkin'?" The table hushed, forks clinking. Ethan swallowed, meeting her gaze. "True. I messed up bad. But Jamal, he's shown me grace I don't deserve. And I'll spend every day earning it." Murmurs rippled, approving. Cousin Tasha, A paralegal with a rainbow tattoo peeking from her sleeve leaned in. Good answer. But know this, we protect our own. Hurt him again? You'll answer to all of us. Ethan nodded, solemn. Fair. Later, on the stoop under street lamps buzzing like fireflies, Jamal pulled him into a dance. Slow sway to phantom Motown spilling from an open window. You survived, he teased, hands warm on Ethan's waist. Barely. Ethan laughed, spinning him gently. But worth it. For this. Their lips met, unhurried, the neighborhood's pulse syncing with theirs. Love, raw and resilient, blooming in the cracks of a city that never slept. But betrayal brewed in the quiet hours. 2 days later, during grand rounds, Ethan stood at the podium, throat dry under the auditorium's glare. I want to address an incident, he began, voice steady. My mistreatment of Nurse Jamal Washington was unacceptable, rooted in my own fears, not his merit. He is exceptional, and I am committed to amplifying voices like his. Applause was polite, but as Ethan stepped down, Dr. Vargas sidled up, breath hot with scotch. Noble hail, but watch your back. Board's not thrilled about the optics. Star surgeon groveling to the help. The words slithered, insidious. That night, Ethan found the leak. An anonymous email to the chief, twisting his apology into preferential treatment, hinting at an affair. Sender. Blocked, but the phrasing screamed Vargas. Rage simmered as Ethan paced his living room, Jamal watching from the couch, concern etching his brow. Don't stoop, Jamal urged. Rise. But Ethan couldn't. The next shift, he cornered Vargas in the lounge, door slamming. The email. It was you. Vargas smirked, stirring his coffee. Prove it, hotshot. And even if, you're the one with the pretty nurse on your arm. Career suicide in this town. The threat landed, coiling like smoke. Ethan stormed out, but the damage festered. Whispers followed. Sidelong glances in hallways, schedules adjusted to separate them. Jamal bore it with grace, but Ethan saw the toll, dark circles, forced smiles. Climax brewed in the ore, a high-stakes valve replacement on a trans man named Riley, mid-30s, nerves frayed from years of misgendering in healthcare. Jamal prepped him, voice gentle. You're seen, Riley. We're your team. Ethan assisted, scalpel steady, but midway complication struck. A bleed Vargas had overlooked in consult. Chaos erupted, alarms blaring. Clamp! Ethan barked, but Jamal was there, anticipating, staunching it. Vargas, observing from the gallery, radioed down. Hale's botching? Pull him. The anesthesiologist hesitated, but Jamal intervened. No. Dr. Hale's lead. Trust the room. In the fray, Ethan locked eyes with Jamal. Trust mirrored back. They synced, saving Riley, but post-op Vargas pounced. Insolence. Washington, you're written up. Ethan exploded. Enough. This is harassment, racist, homophobic bullshit. I'm reporting you. All of it. The lounge fell silent, staff frozen. Vargas blanched, but sneered. Go ahead. I'll bury you both. Betrayal's blade twisted deeper that night. Ryan, over beers at a dive in Williamsburg, dropped the bomb. Dude, Vargas cornered me. Offered me your spot if I distanced. Said you're distracted by personal entanglements. I told him to fuck off, but he's got pull. The words hollowed Ethan. Even friends tested. He confessed to Jamal over the phone, voice cracking. I'm poison. Walk away. Jamal's reply was steel wrapped in silk. Never. We're in the fire now, together. The inferno peaked at the board hearing, wood-paneled room thick with suits and scrutiny. Ethan testified first, voice unwavering. Dr. Vargas's actions endangered patients, targeted Nurse Washington for his race and orientation. I was complicit once, no more. Jamal followed, poised, quoting stats on bias in medicine. His letter from the rally resurfacing as evidence of Ethan's hypocrisy turned redemption. Harold's video played, a ghost's verdict. Vargas squirmed, but the board leaned toward justice. Suspension pending investigation. As they filed out, Ethan pulled Jamal into an alcove, hearts pounding. We did it. We survived it. Jamal's kiss was victory, fierce and free. In the aftermath, change rippled. Ally training's mandatory. A queer black health initiative born from their fight. Months later, under cherry blossoms in Central Park, Ethan knelt. Not in a closet, but open sky. Jamal Washington, you've healed me. Marry me? Tears glistened as Jamal pulled him up. Yes, whispered like a vow. Their love, once shadowed, now a beacon human, unbroken, American as the skyline they called home.